I'm originally from Barbados. At the age of, well, when I finished school, I went to beauty school to become a beautician. When I finished my beauty school, I was working in a salon by the age of 17. Then I wasn't being treated fairly at that salon, so I decided to, do here at my home, which my dad set up, like a little salon downstairs of our home so that I could do here. So, I had a lot of clients that used to come to my home at that age. And then I decided, you know what? The products in Barbados are so expensive. Let me go to Puerto Rico at the age of 17. Let me go to Puerto Rico because I heard that Puerto Rico, they have some products there that are very inexpensive, and that way when I do here at my home, I could make a bigger profit. So I decided I'm going to Puerto Rico. I checked out my ticket and everything on my own at the age of 17, and I bought this ticket. Now, 2 days before I was scheduled to go to Puerto Rico, I decided to tell my mom that I was going to Puerto Rico, okay? And ultimately, as a parent, my mom flipped, right? She's like, you're going to what? Where? Puerto Rico? Who do you even know in Puerto Rico? And I said, no one, but I heard that the products there are very cheap and I want to go buy them so that way I can have them to do people's hair. And my mom was like, you're not going to Puerto Rico by yourself and you don't even know nobody there? And I said, Mom, but I've already bought my ticket. And she's like, how could you go buy a ticket to go to Puerto Rico? You're 17 and you don't even know nobody there. People there speak Spanish. How are you going to even survive there on your own? And I said, Mom, because guys, let me tell you, even though I was 17, I was very independent. I was a smart girl. I'm a young girl, right? I was very smart at that age. So I said, Mom, I'll be fine. Least to say, guys, my dad was living with us as well. And I didn't even tell my dad. I only told my mom. So I went to Puerto Rico at the age of 17. When I got to the airport in Puerto Rico, the man that checked me in, he said, are you traveling alone? And I said, yeah. He said, he's looking at my passport. He said, but you're only 17. I said, yeah, but I'm fine. I'll be fine. And I came out the airport, guys. I got a cab, a taxi, okay? I didn't have a hotel plan or anything like that. And when I got in the cab, the guy said, where are you going to? And I said, I don't know. Can you take me to like the cheapest hotel where I don't have to pay too much for a hotel stay? And he's like, are you by yourself? And I said, yeah, but take me in an area that's not like a really bad area. And this guy drove me to the hotel, and while he was driving me to the hotel, he said to me, aren't you scared to be here by yourself? And he was concerned as well. I tell him, I'll be fine. Guys, I didn't have not even a cell phone, okay, at that age. So he took me to a hotel in a place called Old San Juan. I will never forget that hotel as long as I live. I could close my eyes and I could see it. And while he was driving me to the hotel, I said, can you also tell me about some shopping areas here where I can go and shop because I'm looking for hair products because, I'm a beautician. And this guy told me all the shopping places. Guys, I got to the hotel. They checked me in. I asked them, where can I get the bus? Where can I get this ferry that this guy told me about? Least to say, I got to Puerto Rico safe. I was there for 3 days. And for the 3 days that I was there, because I didn't have a cell phone, and that was a Spanish-speaking country, almost everybody there speaks Spanish, I couldn't call my mom to even tell her that I got to Puerto Rico safely. So when I got back to Barbados, my mom said she did not sleep for that whole entire weekend because she didn't hear from me, and she just didn't know even if I was okay. Did she make it there safely? Oh my God, she couldn't sleep, which is understandable as a parent, right? Now, when I told my kids that story, they were like, oh my God, Mom, How could you do that? Like, oh my God. But let me tell you guys something, okay? As a parent, do you think that I would allow my kids to do that? When I had my kids, I had them in America. My daughter was born in New York. Well, two of them were born in New York, and the other one was born in Tampa, Florida. But do you think that my kids could have come to me at 17 and say, Mom, I'm going on a trip to even out of the country or anyway? No, they couldn't. Least to say, meaning that when you are young, right, and even when you get a little bit older, there's things that you learn as you go by. And as a parent, you don't always become the perfect or the best parent right away. Every day is a learning process. And even as you're learning, sometimes your kids are 2 and you're still learning. Sometimes your kids are 6 and 7 and you're still learning as a parent, right? So yes, my mom didn't tear up my ticket or do anything like that because my mom wasn't like that. I'm sure she was just praying to God, you know. But for me, if my child had bought a ticket to go to Puerto Rico, when I look at it, you know, in this day and age that we live in, if my child bought a ticket, I would have tore it up. Not saying that I'm not judging anything about my mom, because my mom was a great mom. She raised 5 kids, and she was an awesome mom. So I'm not judging her, okay? But I'm just telling you what I would do. Meaning that, you know, there's a lot of people that, you know, you pass judgment on other people about, oh, their kids are going to grow up and their kids are going to be this way because they see you doing this or they see you dressing like this or shaking your this. That is so far from the truth. Your kids could be in your home and see you doing things and could be totally different from you. They could do things opposite to what you do. And let me tell you, a lot of people out there, whether it's a judge, people who work at CPS, lawyers, doctors, do you think that those people's kids are perfect? Do you think they're perfect? They're not. Many times on the news, right, we hear so many things about people's kids, even sometimes the celebrities. Sometimes these people that are judged, that are in the court, judging other people and sentencing them. Sometimes their kids are worse than yours. And I'm sure you guys listen to the news and you hear it all the time. So meaning that you could never judge a person based on their parenting skills, because do you think that those judges and those lawyers and all of those people, they would tell you, I tried my best. I did the best I could. I gave them this, I did this, but the child still did what they wanted to do. Some of those people's kids are locked up in jail for different reasons, whether it's on drug charges or shooting or grand theft, different things. And those people, sometimes you would never know, but because they're judges and they have those big titles, sometimes it's put out there. Not all of them, because some of them are pushed under the rug and you would never hear about it. So a lot of people that are saying that, oh, and you know, I tell you these things for a reason, right? To let you see that sometimes you can't always judge a book by its cover. You got to read a book, right? You can't just go and pick up a book and say, oh, this book looks interesting. Oh, I don't think I'm going to like this book because it says this. You got to read it first. So never judge a person as well by what you're seeing. You know, I see a lot of people passing judgment on Coral Beatty about her dressing and how her kids are going to come up and they're going to be like this, and they don't know that. You don't know that. That's only something that you are saying based on what the mom is doing or how the mom is dressing. But the way how that mom dressed, the children might be totally different. Hello. How are you doing today? And I'm Amika. I don't want to try to pronounce your first name. I know I'm going to botch it. I'm so sorry, so forgive me. But guys, You guys get where I'm coming from. You know, it is very sad that a person come to you on live video and show you their life, and they're already seeing all these things that people are talking about them, and they're already saddened by it. And then when you go and you help throw more stones at that person, do you know what that's doing to them inside? Like, please give the girl a break when you go to her live. She gonna have to come on live. You know, we love her. We love what she brings. She shares some different type of recipes and foods and stuff with us, which is so awesome. I love to watch her. I love her. And you know what? Some people might say, oh, why are you guys loving Cora? Why are you supporting her when she dresses like this, when she does this? We all have something about us that we could change. None of us are perfect. I have things about me that I could change. You guys have things about you that you could change as well. But everything is all a work in progress. And trust me, one day there might be an eye opener. Something might happen that might open Cora's eyes and say, you know what? I realize I got to do this differently, or I realize I got to do that differently. But she is going to see that for herself. So when you go and you are telling her, oh, you need to do this, or you need to do that, all you're doing is just looking for a blocking, or, you know, or being banned from the page. Not saying that she shouldn't take constructive criticism or recommendation or advice. There's nothing wrong with that. But don't do it to the point where you're like bashing a person. It's not making them feel good inside. Truly. You know, and that's the reason why I told you a little bit about my story. You know, I like to tell you a little bit about things before I really get to it, to let you see that us as parents, none of us are perfect. If anybody says that they're a perfect parent, they're lying to themselves. They're lying to themselves. Yes, we raise kids and our kids come up good, some of us, but not all of us. Rich people, a lot of times you see that those kids are always in trouble. And then we are wondering, wow, oh, some people pass judgment on them too and say, oh, it's because they did this and they gave the kids everything they wanted and they spoiled them and all these different things. But regardless of what you do and what you give a child, that child is still going to have their own mind. Because that's how we grow up, right? We learn from our parents and what they taught us as we were coming up. But children get to a certain age and their mind is becoming their own. So just meaning to say that, you know, I don't like to use the word stop it, because again, that's me telling a person what to do. But remember that that person has feelings too. And one day, Cora will wake up and realize that, okay, you know what, maybe this about me I could change, or maybe that I can change. But again, it really depends on the person's culture and how they came up. You know, I'm from the islands. There's certain things about me that are just in me because I learned that as I grew up in the islands, and I might not change it about me because, again, it was part of how I grew up. A very wise woman. Thank you so very much. And you know, that comes with age, meaning that if I go back, when I became a mom, to be honest, I think I was 24. And I didn't get it all right in the beginning because that was my first child. My mom actually came and stayed with me for about 6 months because, you know, I had to go back out to work. I was working at a beauty shop in New York at that time. So my mom came and she stayed with me for 6 months while she took care of my daughter because I didn't want to send her to a babysitter right away. So a lot of things you learn as you go by. And even at 24, having a kid, I didn't have it all together, meaning, you know, it was a learning process for me. And even with the first one, you did certain things. And then when you had the second one, you did things totally different from when you did it with the first one. Because you learn And every day is a learning process for all of us. Some of us are 40, some of us are older, and we're still learning. Some of the people that are out there that are throwing stones at Cora every day and telling her, oh, go put on some clothes, oh, go do this, or your child is going to be like this. Some of those people's kids are far from perfect. Far from perfect. Some of them probably don't even get along with some of their kids. But you would never know that because they're not going to tell you. They're not going to say, oh, Cora, I understand because, my daughter don't speak to me. Or my son just, doesn't even care about me. They're not going to come and tell you that. But their children are not perfect either. So again, when you go to somebody's life and they're sharing things with you, you know how many things that we all have learned from Cora? Whether, again, it might have been a recipe. Something about their culture, the African culture. Even us celebrating and being happy that she's with her kids and the kids came back. There were some people that were still writing so many negative things under the video. And I'm thinking to myself, like, what's wrong with you? What is truly wrong with you? Seriously. Just give it a rest, because if we ask you, let me call you, maybe let's say Donna, I'm going to use a person's name, Donna. Donna, let me call you. Oh, how's everything going with your kids? Oh, really? Wow. You might hear some things that would shock you. So again, parenting comes as a learning process. Nobody goes to the hospital and have a baby and then they go home and they're the perfect parent right away. They're going to make little mistakes. Things are going to happen. Grandma might tell them, oh, Donna, you know that you shouldn't do that. You should have did this. It's a learning process. And if you see somebody that is trying and really trying their best, don't beat them down more to make them feel like they're just failing at what they're doing or what they're trying to do. Only God can turn a person around, not man. So all you can do for a person is just continue to pray for them. That's all you can do. And again, constructive criticism, there's nothing wrong with that. But when you're going to the part of bashing them to a certain point and bringing the comment over like you're bashing them, then you're going too far. Because that person is not wishing those things on you. And guys, I like to keep it real. I don't just want to come on in here and say, oh, this is about Cora and this about that. I like to give you guys a little bit of different experiences and different things that happen and things that are happening in other people's life, but you don't see anybody coming out and talking about it. Truly, peace is what's needed at this time. So they don't end up going somewhere else. And just cut the mom some slack, she's seeing, how many bloggers out there are just telling so many different stories and different things. Why would you go back to a person's history from 10 years ago, from 5 years ago? That doesn't define them today. Maybe some things they did 10 years ago or 5 years ago, maybe they've grown. They don't do those things anymore. Their mind have grown from those things. Not talking about the dressing, okay? I'm just talking about other little things that you were hearing. Maybe they're not that type of person anymore. Amen, Shelly. Absolutely, you're correct. And a lot of people have to remember that Cora was not born in America. I wasn't born in America either. People here raise kids differently, meaning us as people from the islands and from different countries, we raise a lot of our kids based on some of our cultures and how we grew up. So there's certain ways and things that she is raising her kids and doing that is based on her culture. And there's nothing wrong with that, because even though she's in the USA now, why is she going to come and change and say, you know what, let me raise my children like an American? And I can tell you, if you guys know a lot of American parents, and again, this is not me passing judgment, but a lot of American parents do not raise their kids like us in the islands. Some of these kids don't know about a butt whooping. Never go to the point to make somebody feel so sad like that. They got to jump off a life when they're just trying to be themselves. Love God, love people. Spread love wherever you go. Again, we can give people our opinion and so forth, constructive criticisms, but don't bash them to a point where they're just like going to that sadness. We don't want to make people go into sadness or depression.